In this video, I'm going to show you my strategies for finding ideas and editing Instagram Reels that got me over 800,000 views and essentially doubled my following in just 1 month. Hey, what's going on? My name is Sarellas. I'm a videographer and editor from Toronto, Canada. I specialize in sports videography, and we're talking all about Instagram Reels today. They're pretty much the place to be if you're a video creator and using Instagram. Reels are just getting a ton of engagement right now. They've especially been working well for me. And I want to talk to you about how I'm getting so much engagement on Instagram Reels, because I'm not kidding you, 800,000 views in like a month. It's been ridiculous. So let's start with how I find ideas. And one of the best ways to find ideas is trending audio. So if you just go where you're going to create a reel and then you click on this little button right here, you can see audio. I like coming to this tab just to browse the audio that's trending and see how many plays all of this audio has. And then I'll usually like scroll through here, click on an audio that I like that has a whole bunch of views, and then see what ideas I have for that audio that can go with footage I've shot or Instagram Reels that I'm planning to make. Now, let's say you want to find ideas that don't just rely on trending audio. Well, one of the ways that I like to do that is through the explore page. So I'll come to my explore here, and now I can watch these reels and just kind of get ideas and see what audio is trending and what they're using and what people are doing, and how I can kind of take this idea and then apply it to my own work. But if I keep scrolling here, I should be getting a lot of other related videography reels popping up, and it kind of gives me an idea of stuff that I can do. So here's a reel idea, me 1% of the time and it's filming, and then me 99% of the time and it's editing. It's kind of comical, but also there's a lot of cinematic value here. So I can think, what's my 1% of the time? What's my 99% of the time with the thing that I do? And what's my unique style that I like filming stuff in, and do this idea, but give it my own twist. I will take a reel I like, click on the 3 dots here and click save, and then put that under my collection called post ideas. So whenever I want to make an Instagram reel, but I'm not exactly sure what to make it of, I'll go to my post ideas folder. My post ideas folder is actually somewhere that I will also save some videos that aren't even in my niche. One of the most recent videos that I've saved is this girl in her hotel with a bunch of iPhone clips. I'm not a travel influencer. This isn't what I do. I'm a video creator and I make sports videos. The fast cuts and the audio of this video, in my opinion, are very applicable to a high-paced sports edit. I could easily see myself taking this audio, which isn't used in my niche, it's just being used by these lifestyle creators, but kind of remixing it and making a sports edit with it, where I fast-paced cut a lot of shots from the same game. So it's like a reel that already exists, but in a different part of Instagram that I'm not a part of, and I'm bringing it into my part of Instagram for the first time. So I like doing that as well, and I found that to perform pretty well for me. You know what's crazy? This video is about Instagram, and over half of you watching right now aren't even following me on there. So if you're liking the content that you're getting here, you want to connect with me, and you want to get more of what you're watching right now, then take a moment to go follow me on Instagram right now at @Sarellas, and then come on back here to watch the rest of this video. That way, even when this video finishes, you can still get more informative content and we can hang out a little bit longer. Now let's get into some editing tips for Instagram Reels. And one of the best editing tips that I can give you is keep it short and sweet. People watching your reel to the end, or even better, rewatching your reel, is going to tell Instagram that your content is really engaging, and as a result, push it to more people. So I've found that keeping my reels between 4 to 8 seconds, like max 10 seconds, has gotten me the best engagement. The reason you don't want to make your reel like 1 second long is because if you share it to stories and it's only a second, then that story will only live for a second and nobody's going to be able to click into it. So that's pretty counterintuitive. But like that 4 to 8 second range up to 10 seconds is a really good place where I found a lot of engagement. Recently, I found that pretty much every reel that I posted in the past month that was between 4 and 8 seconds did really well, and most of the reels that I posted that were longer than that, unless they were insanely valuable and just popped off for that, didn't do nearly as well. And then next, think of your value proposition. Are you entertaining or are you informing your audience? My reels that show cinematic quality and a bunch of cool shots that I got are entertaining for the cinematic value that's there and the style that I've edited it in. And my reels that show my settings or how I shoot a specific type of shot are informative because they're telling people how they can go replicate the type of shots that I do and get better videos for themselves. So those are kind of the two pools that my reels have been falling in so far. And obviously this changes, like there's lots of ebbs and flow on Instagram and trends change all the time. And what we do as content creators is going to change all the time. But you always want to think when you're creating something, is this entertaining or informative? Because if the answer is no to both of those, then there's a good chance your reel isn't going to do very well. Now I want to hop into Premiere Pro here for a second and actually show you how I practically edited together one of my reels that did really well. I think this reel has 150,000 views right now on Instagram. So this reel is going over my camera settings. So I started with this shot of myself filming, and I use a 360 camera on a magic arm, which you can see right here in the shot when I'm doing this type of edit to film myself. So I kept that on for 3 seconds, and I'm going to put some text along the lines of my settings for sports videography in this black part up here that I'm leaving. And then if I want to put like some extra text, like watch till the end or 4 tips to know or some random text like that, I could always like put it right here over myself, or I could put it at the bottom in this green area. I'm going to here say my aperture, which is usually between f2.8 and f4, and I've got a shot with a blurry background. And obviously you can't see it that well because I've cut this for vertical, but you can tell that the background here is just butter. And then here is a clip in 120 frames per second, and I wrote FPS 120. So I know I'm going to put some text about that, probably right here where there's no action happening. And I've planned that. And then this shot, all I'm looking at here, it's not the most visually appealing shot in my opinion, but it's a good reaction. And I'm talking about my shutter speed, which I have set to 1/500. I think I ended up on the post writing that my shutter speed is usually between 1/320 and 1/500, which is true. But this shot, my shutter was at 1/500. And that's why I picked this shot, because you can see the very fast shutter speed. There's lots of space at the top throughout this shot, so I can easily put the text up there, and that wouldn't be problematic. And then this shot is relating to my ISO. And look, I use an ISO of 800, 2500, or 3200 on most of the shots that I film. But the reason I picked this shot in particular, and the reason that I made this shot, as you can see here, longer than any of the other shots, is because one, this shot in my opinion is the most visually pleasing, and I'm thinking about what shots I can use as a thumbnail the entire time that I'm editing Instagram reels. So this shot here, it's fine, but it's just a guy. This shot's a little bit too busy, there's too many faces in it. This shot is nice, but I also don't like love it. It's a little like the green's a little ugly in my opinion, if that's the only thing that's there. But this shot, we have a clear subject, he's flexing, there's smoke in the background, we have a firework that goes off, and I know that my thumbnail is going to be a square, so taking this square right here is a really good thumbnail with the firework, the smoke, and the player in it. And then the shot's a little bit longer because I can write ISO 2500, 800, or 3200. And then I also want to take a little bit of extra time to specify that I always shoot at my camera's base ISO. So that's why I left a little bit extra space here, and why I decided to hold on this shot for a little bit longer so I could pull a good thumbnail frame out of it. And then I usually export this with no text on it, and I do all my text in the Instagram app, because if Instagram is giving us an option to do text there, then I feel like they kind of want us to do text there, and there's a good chance that when you use more of Instagram's tools, Instagram's going to recognize that and push your content more. At least that's my philosophy behind that. So I try to do text in Instagram as much as I can. Now look, despite everything that we've talked about here, in my opinion, the most important thing is to be consistent. Of course, you can make an Instagram post every day, and if you're able to create a valuable post every single day for Instagram Reels and be consistent in that sense, that's amazing. But posting every day isn't a realistic possibility for people. Like, we have lives and it's just not a sustainable pace. So if you can create one valuable post that's either entertaining or informative to your audience per week, then that's great. Do one per week, but don't post 4 times in a week, get burned out, and then take a break for a month. That's not going to be very productive for you. You're much better off to just post on a consistent basis. That way people are actually going to follow you and stay followed to you. And then when you post something, you're going to have a larger core audience of people who want to watch it, and push it out because you've been providing them consistent value over time. That's at least my philosophy for how I like approaching this type of stuff, is just deliver value and deliver it consistently. And if you can do that and implement all the stuff that we've talked about here, then I think you're well on your way to doing really well on Instagram Reels, or honestly, whatever other platform you want to tackle. Anyways, that's going to be all for this video. So if you'd like to, please subscribe to the channel, because I post videography and video editing tips and tutorial videos similar to this one on a regular basis, and I would love to have you around for that. If you have any questions about anything we talked about today, please drop it down in the comment section. I would love to have a chat with you about it. And that's going to be all for this one. So until next time, peace.